Hello, everyone. Let me start with a statement that may sound uncomfortable. So, psychological suffering is not a malfunction. It is a natural outcome of being human. In modern psychology, there is a therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy. It was developed in the early 80s by Professor Stephen Hayes. I will refer it as to ACT, okay? ACT. ACT emphasizes psychological flexibility and values-driven actions to strengthen overall well-being. ACT is designed to help us live meaningfully, despite the pain. The thing is, your mind constantly scans for danger, compares you to others, predicts failure, and reminds of past mistakes. So when students feel overwhelmed, when professionals feel like they are not enough, when individuals experience loneliness or uncertainty, actually it is not always disorder. It is the cognition doing its job. But sometimes, when the experiences can become intense enough that people need psychological support. Today, I will share with a perspective that can truly change your thoughts about suffering through the lens of acceptance and commitment therapy that I've been studying for more than 5 years with my researchers around the world, and specifically at the lab of the mindfulness behavior therapies and psychophysiology lab. Let me illustrate it first, okay? From the real case experience. It is my own experience. As I said before, I started studying ACT from the first day of undergraduate studies. It was the end of my first semester. That time, I didn't know that I will be suffered very soon after learning all these beautiful things about ACT. But it happened. It was the last day of 2019. I was abroad in China, just in a hotel room. I was lying and crying. I was only in the hotel room. The loneliness overwhelmed because it was very close to the new year and I was far away from my family. And as you see, my mind did what minds often do. It catastrophized everything. So when I was lying, my mind was screaming to me, just screaming. You don't belong here. It was a mistake to come to China. It is hard to be far away from your family. It was just screaming. That moment, I forgot about my values of coming to China. I felt only the pain. I still remember that headache that I had in China at that moment. It was very difficult. So in a language of psychology, it calls cognitive process intensified, which is catastrophic thinking, self-doubt, and emotional distress. Some people will say, or might say, that I've not been crying, that I'm in a luxury hotel in China, and will celebrate the New Year soon. Yeah, they would be right. There was nothing abnormal around me, but a lot of things happened inside me in my mind. This is an exact situation where ACT offers powerful shift. ACT offers a different framework in where suffering cannot be separated from a meaningful life. Instead of asking, how do I escape suffering? It asks, what does suffering connected to? In simple sentences, the issue is not pain. The issue is losing direction. So, let me quickly explain it in terms of like 3 parts, like mind, inner self, and our body. So, as we discussed before, our mind tries to protect us by creating fear. Their thoughts produced automatically, not accurately. The inner self, where actually our values come. The part of you that is capable of awareness, perspective taking, and choice. And the physical body, which is physiological system that carries fatigue, stress, and adaptation. So when problems arises, when actually mind dominates from behavior, when actions driven by avoidance rather than meaning, when values are unclear or ignored, this creates in act what calls psychological inflexibility. So why suffering happens? Not because the situation is difficult, because we are disconnected from our value and over-identify ourselves with our thoughts. Do you see that? Do you do that? Sometimes we over-identify ourselves with our thoughts. So, for example, when I was in that room in the hotel, my thoughts amplified my experiences far beyond what was happening around. So it was another reason. Now I will teach some techniques how it is possible to help yourself. As I said before, I learned these techniques under the guidance of my professor, clinical psychologist at Duke Kunshan University and Fulbright professor, back to the first semester at my undergraduate studies. So the first technique is learning to bring your attention to the present moment. For example, as ordinary as breakfast, try to completely be where you are. For example, now you are sitting in front of me in your seats and try to feel all this atmosphere. Try to feel the sphere, what is going around. Try to feel the texture of the seats. Try to feel the clothes that you are wearing. It will just bring you to here, to this room. Not followed by your thoughts about your family, about your children, or about your assignments, or about your bad grades. It will try to focus you in this specific moment. The second technique may sound unusual or funny, but it is effective too. So, give a name to your mind. Try to give a name that might be funny or ugly. So, for example, when we have like those thoughts while we are suffering, sometimes they sound really ugly. So that might be related to that too. So, for example, my name is Zhansaya, my mind's name is Den. Okay? Before coming to here and staying in front of you, my Den was loudly talking to me that I'm not good enough, I cannot be here, I'm not belong to the Nazarbayev University, I should not stay here. Yeah, it is still actually screaming that much. I'm so sorry. But right before coming here, I asked my den to be a little less noisy, to a little step back, that my values could speak louder. At this moment, my value is to share something meaningful with you that will help you while you are suffering or while you are having some problems, mental problems. So that is why I'm here. So if you find yourself experiencing stress, anxiety, self-doubt, the question is not how do I escape it? The more useful question will be, what do sufferings does about what we value, what you exactly value? And try to come back to the things that you value entirely, to feel the specific this moment. Because actually, the areas where we suffer, they matters the most. The entire goal was not to escape or remove those difficulties. The entire goal is to build the capacity to act in the direction in its presence. Thank you for being with me.